Hello, listeners. Here we are again this week. I'm here with Charles Scott Jr., Charles Scott Sr., another episode of Can We Talk? Here we go. Got a lot of nice things to talk to you about today, and maybe you can start it off.
Yes, definitely. As you know, if you've been watching the show every week, you know we've been talking about not just home buying, but also ways you can improve your situation, whether it be your credit situation or your financial situation, in order to get you into your first property, or just survive the incoming recession we supposedly supposed to have.
That's right, supposedly have. They keep calling it off and calling it on, back and forth, back and forth. Mm-hmm. Luckily, so far, they're looking for what they call a soft landing. That means that jobs will continue to improve. There won't be that many layoffs. The inflation's going to come down. So it should be better economy for everybody concerned. Today we wanted to touch on a couple of things that you can do to, if you're looking to purchase a house, and to sort of alleviate the interest rates. Not alleviate the interest rates, but some things that you can do on your own to bring down the interest rates. Some strategies that we're going to give you today. And also we're going to talk today about credit repair.
Definitely, because as you know, as the past 2 years, I'll say 2020, 2021, it's been a seller's market as far as people are overbidding houses, but it'll be 20,000 over, 50,000 over. But as we enter into 2023, we're going to see this is a buyer's market, and we're going to see different techniques that were favorable 5 years ago come back into play, like seller's concessions and also buy down mortgages.
Now, when we're talking about buy down mortgages, that's where you as the buyer can on your own bring down the interest rate. And you say, how can I bring down the interest rate when that's a job of the Federal Reserve and the government? But actually, the lender sets an interest rate that they're going to charge you whenever you get a mortgage. And that means that they can sort of like judge how much profit they're going to make off of that loan. Now, if you say, okay, let's say the interest rate is around 6%, and they give you a buy down, that means that you can give them money up front, and they can give you a 5% interest rate. So instead of a 6% interest rate, it's a 5. If it's a 5% to start with, maybe they can give you a 4. So by you giving them extra money, when you start off with your loan, they'll give you a lower interest rate. Now, why is that? That's because they get to take that extra money that you gave them and they invest it over a long period of time.
Exactly.
So they're still making money, but they're lowering the interest rate so that you save money. So It's a win-win situation for both parties. It's called a buy down. So if you're getting a mortgage and you're thinking of getting a mortgage out there and you want a lower interest rate, maybe ask your lender if you are eligible for what they call a buy down.
Definitely. I would also say, make sure you shop around too. Some lenders may not have the opportunity to give you a buy down, while other banks or lenders would have better opportunities for you to get a buy down.
So that's one concept that you can do right there to save yourself some money. And the other thing that you can do is if you're looking to buy a house in the future, you have a down payment and you have the closing costs. So right now, the sellers, because they want to sell their homes, may be willing to help you buy the house by actually helping you pay some of the closing costs. So these are things that you will not get unless you ask for. The seller will not just say, hey, you know what, I'm going to give you some money to help you with your closing costs. Well, guess
They're
what?
not going to volunteer that. You want to make sure you have an experienced realtor who knows how to write that up as far as what to ask when it comes to what the term is called, seller concession. That's when they help you pay down your closing costs.
So those are the 2 tips for the day. We give you, every week we'll give you, the tip of the day.
Yeah, right.
Buy down on your mortgage program and get the seller to help you with your closing costs.
Now, I want to explain the buy down just a little bit more further, because people may think, even though the interest rate is 7%, you're buying down to 5%. Remember, that's temporary. You're buying it down for the first couple of years of the mortgage. It will go back to the 7%. But in that time, things may have changed. Maybe you got a promotion at your job. Maybe you were to save money. But it's a good way to start the mortgage off with a lower interest rate, because eventually you'll save more money in the long run.
That's right. Exactly. One of the things we want to talk about today, we were discussing, is credit. Some of the things you can do to improve your credit, because even there, if you have better credit, you can even get a lower interest rate because they look at your credit report. So you may, and I always tell people it's better to improve your credit score than to go in there just to get into a house right now
Yes.
and pay a long-term 30-year higher interest rate when you can spend 2 or 3 months improving the credit score.
Correct.
So we want to talk about, ways of improving your credit score. Now, one of the ways is, well, first of all, people pay off your current bills.
I was gonna say that was number one.
That's
Pay
number
down
one.
current debt that you currently have, consumer debt, whether it be store cars or even your auto payments. Get more debt off your books, and you'll see your store you'll start to rise.
Now, where do you get the money from? Well, first of all, let's look at it this way. A lot of times people have money that they can pay off their bills and pay off their debt, and they spend it on other things to create even more debt. I'm like amazed at people that are talking to me and they come into me and it's like, I need to improve my credit. My credit score is this and everything. And, I want to set up an appointment with you, but I'm going on vacation and I'm going to be gone for 2 weeks on vacation. And then I get back. I'm like, how much is the vacation going to cost you? Oh, at least $2,000-$3,000. So you're going to start paying off your bills after you finish creating $3,000 more in bills.
Exactly.
I said, you got to get your priorities straight. In other words, you can't be out here creating bills at the same time that you say you're going to be starting. It's like a person on a diet saying, I'm going to go out and have this big dinner because next week I'm starting my diet.
It puts you behind even more.
Exactly. So, you want to take money to pay off some of your current bills. And if you come into a windfall of money, don't look at that as, this is extra money that I can spend now because that's not going to help me pay off my bills anyway, because that's money that I plan on spending, First of all, pay off the bills with that extra money. I ask people, I say, how long have you had this bill? Oh, this has been on my credit report for about 4 years. And I'm like, okay, 4 years, and how much is the bill? It's only like $1,500. So you've made all this money in 4 years, and you haven't paid off the $1,500 bill. People feel as though, well, hey, it's not hurting me right now. There's nobody knocking on my door. I just get the letters, and I keep putting it off, and I'm going to get to it sooner or later. But now you're just building up money. Some creditors love that.
Yeah, they love when you pay when you pay the minimum payment. That means, that they're by law they have to show you on the paperwork. You usually write it really small too. It'll say if you pay the minimum payment for this amount, it'll take 15 years. Versus, let's say, if you add 30% to the minimum payment, then it'll take you less than half that time to pay off the debt. But it's good to remember to pay off the debt, but also if you come into any windfalls of money, to pay off, I would say, the ones with the highest interest rates first.
Not only that, the lenders in some cases like it when you don't pay them back because that's free money. They're just making money. They're just sitting back. Can you imagine if I am a finance company and I got 1,000 people owing me $1,000? That's a lot of money. And every year, as a matter of fact, every day, every week, every month, they just keep owing me more and more money. I don't have to do a single thing because the interest and the late charges keep growing and growing. So I might look and say, I'm owed $1 million this month. Maybe the next month, I just made another $100,000 this month.
Exactly.
I didn't do a thing because now those are the late fees and the extra fees that I made. Then next month I made another $100,000 because they just keep putting more fees and more late charges, and so they're making money, not doing a thing just because you're not paying them. Now eventually, they feel we'll go after them. We'll go after them. They get a job. We're going to attach their pay.
Garnish wages.
We're going to garnish their wages. They're going to need something. Sooner or later, they're going to need something where they got to come to me and say, can you please take this off of my credit report? And I'm going to say, okay, well, you started off owing me $1,000. Now you owe me $1,800.
Exactly. Those interest and fees build up quickly.
So what you want to do is get some money to pay off some of those bills that you're going to have. Now, where does the money come from? Well, one of the biggest things that we have coming soon It's the beginning of the year, so going for the next 3 or 4 or 5 months, people are going to be filing their tax returns.
Correct.
All of that money is going to be flowing in, billions and probably trillions of dollars.
The thing is, people have to be careful because, these companies are smart. As you see, when tax season comes along, you'll start seeing the car commercials, start seeing the furniture
big time.
commercials, and they're going to be tempting because they're going to have no interest, no money down. They're going to know you have a lot of money because you got a tax return. They're going to try to get that before you can use it to pay your bills.
It was funny, and I guess it's not funny. I remember last year, they had the auto companies that had the we'll do your tax returns for free.
Oh, yeah.
They actually had
Good marketing, though.
tax companies setting up in the showroom of the car dealerships saying, come on in and get your taxes done.
They want you to stay there and buy a car.
You come in and get their taxes done, and then you sign the money over to them towards the down payment on the car, and they sign you. You get your tax returns done on one desk, and you go over to the other desk, and they sign up the contract and put you in a new car and hand you the keys, and you drive off in the new car. You
Isn't
use
that
the tax
something?
returns as the down payment, and and people are like, "Wow, this is great! I
You
got
see that as convenience, but it's more of that they got you trapped right there.
right there." And what they do is, okay, so you get money back on the return from the tax, and they just went up $2,000 on the cost of the car.
Isn't that something? Yeah, definitely. You see that inflation built into the price of the car, but now not only do they have you down there with your tax return, they can probably put some bells and whistles in the car. They can really take advantage
Oh yeah,
of it.
don't you want heated seats?
Yeah.
Don't you want heated windows? Don't you want navigation?
Right.
Don't you want a sunroof?
Automatic car starter,
This, the
all
car
the fees.
starter, this, that, and they start adding in the fees, and the next thing you know, you started from the basic of maybe 25,000, and now you're up to 35,000, and the extra $10,000 maybe cost them 2,000.
Exactly.
So now, and then they say, okay, well now credit's not all that great, so we got to give you, we'll find you some financing. So now they hit you on another extra
Exactly.
$2,000 for the financing. Then they say, well, we got to prep the car, we got to shine it up, we got to do this. That's $500.
Yep, they'll put that fee in there also.
Exactly. And what do most people care about? Only one thing. What's the monthly payment?
Exactly. You tell them that number, they'll have you paying a payment that pays 99% interest and 1%
As
principal.
long as you say, okay, that monthly payment sounds good to me, sign on the dotted line.
Yeah.
So be very careful. What we're getting at is that make some wise decisions. You may even have enough coming back on your income tax to have your present car fixed.
Oh yeah, very true.
Tune it up, put some new tires on it, have it shined up, take a couple of dents out of it. You don't have to. People always make me laugh. They come into the office and they'll say, oh, my credit's so-so. And I say, do you have any debt? Do you have a new car? Oh, yeah, I just bought a new car. And I say, why'd you buy a new car? You want to buy a house. They said, well, I got to get to work. I'm like, well, you don't have to buy a new car to get to work.
Very true.
What about your present car? Oh, I was having trouble with it. So if you went out and buy don't use the excuse, please, when you go to get credit, that you had to buy a new car to get to work.
Exactly.
Didn't have to be new. You could buy a used car to get to work. And if your job isn't that far, take the bus until you buy the house.
Exactly. Very true. Any way to save a little money. Now, also our viewers that are watching may be people that have no credit. So what they may say, well, I got my tax return money, what should I do? And I would recommend you get like a secure credit card. You may say, what is a secure credit card? And that's a credit card where you get it, you actually put money on it. You're spending your own money, but you're still getting a report sent to Experian and the other bureaus also.
There was a course a couple of years ago, and it was put out by one of the agencies, and it said, what comes, it's like what comes first, the chicken or the egg? This course was what comes first, the car or the house?
Yeah.
And so they were saying, get the car, then get the house.
Yes.
Don't get the car to sleep out of the car.
Nope.
That's not going to work too long. So mainly what we're saying is that there's a way to get extra money to pay off some, and when you get that extra money, you do your income tax, pay off the bills, and be strategic about that, like you just said.
I'll start with the one with the highest interest rate first.
Start off with the highest interest, the card with the highest interest rate. Pay off that one, and then they have these offers where you can pay down your debt with one credit card against the other credit card. Play them against each other. Take the credit card that's got the lowest interest rate and get a cash advance from that one to pay off the credit card that's got the highest interest rate.
You can consolidate your debt also. There's also companies that they can take all your credit card debt, pay it off, and then you just owe that one company at a lower interest rate.
Same thing like when you hear people having a house. What they do is they refinance the house for a lower interest rate. If they have a high interest rate on their 30-year fixed mortgage, and say the interest rate is 7%, and they got an offer for 5%, they use the 5% mortgage company to pay off the mortgage company that's charging them 7%. And it's a refi where they actually put more money in their pocket. So you could do the same thing with credit cards. Always try and negotiate and get the credit card that's got the lowest interest.
Exactly.
And pay it down. Now, we're not saying pay off the credit card and cancel the credit card.
Yeah, don't close the credit
That's
card.
not a good thing. That's not a good thing.
Yeah, what you want to do is pay it down to zero or pay it down to as low as you can, and keep it open just because it shows available credit, which is something good to the bureaus. If you close the credit card, it may actually lower your score.
Yeah, it hurts you. In other words, keep the credit card active, because we're telling you how these reporting companies report. So the computer, remember, it's a computer who's setting your credit card score or your credit score. You know, there's millions of people in the United States. There's no one sitting at their desk reviewing your credit every month.
It's an algorithm.
It's a computer. It's a computer. And that computer has information that goes into it. And the computer figures out when your credit score goes up, when your credit score goes down. It's almost like going to the casino.
Yeah.
There's no one sitting inside that machine telling the machine when to give you money back.
Nope.
It's all computerized to know how much money it took in, how many times you pull down that machine, and what the odds are, and how much profit's got to go to the casino, and how much to give back to you, and how many pull downs, and then boom, it says give the player some money, entice them, and then try and get it back.
Exactly. Remember, when you comes to your credit score, like you said, when you go to buy a car, when they check your credit, that may be what they call a hard inquiry. So you want to make sure when you go to shop for a house, make sure you spend a few months leading up to that, not shopping for furniture, not shopping for cars, because those inquiries may hurt your credit score. When you go to the mortgage company, it may be lower than what you thought.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Not every time you check your credit is it good. It could be bad. So be careful of how you check your credit.
Correct.
And most of the time, if you check the credit yourself personally, that's considered a soft pull. You can look up the credit report. A lot of times people are scared to look up their own credit report because they feel as though, well, I heard if I look up my credit, it's going to bring down my credit score. No, that doesn't happen because it's you looking up your credit score.
Yes.
If you go to a store and tell them, well, look my credit up, I want to see if I qualify for this credit card or this offer that you have. I'm not interested in signing up, but I just want to know if I qualify. Well, when they pull the credit, now that's called a hard inquiry.
Yes.
That means that the computer is thinking to itself, this person is searching for money. And since they're searching for money, they must not have money.
Exactly.
And since they don't have money, we don't want them getting too much into debt. And the more times they search for money, the lower we're going to push down their credit score so that they don't be able to borrow a whole lot of money. It sort of works against you.
Isn't it funny how it works as far as there's soft inquiries and hard inquiries? Remember, hard inquiry is something that is hit to your score. It may lower it, especially if the purchase is small. If it's like a $2,000 car at JCPenney or something like that, it may be different if you're looking at a car, which is more money.
Right. And then the more inquiries in a short period of time doesn't hurt you as bad because they figure you're looking for the best value.
Exactly.
But all of those inquiries go on your credit report and they stay there because you don't know that it's there most of the time because most people don't get a copy of their credit report.
Exactly.
Which is another thing that we want to let you know. Always, if you're getting ready to repair your credit, get a copy of your credit report. There's 3 bureaus: Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax.
Correct.
Those are the 3 credit bureaus across the United States that have all these millions and millions of files on everybody. Those 3 credit bureaus. Now, they're in competition with each other. One is, like I said, Experian, then TransUnion, and Equifax. But all 3 of them have different information about you. Because if I'm a credit bureau and I want to make money, then I go out and I get information on people. And then if you're a credit bureau, you go out and you get information on people. Then the other one, they go out and they get information on people. So if I'm a store and I want to check your credit, it costs money to join these credit bureaus. And a store may say, you know, it costs me $1,000 a year to join the credit bureau. And 3 credit bureaus, that's $3,000. I don't want to spend that much. I'm only going to join 1 credit bureau so that I can get information about my customers. So maybe they only join TransUnion. So now I figure, hey, TransUnion has enough information on everybody to satisfy what I want to do. So now you're buying a car. I go to TransUnion. TransUnion says, oh, his credit is good, so I give you the car. Now you don't pay me back. So I tell TransUnion, oh, these people got bad credit. They didn't pay me back.
Exactly.
But I didn't tell Equifax and I didn't tell Experian because I don't belong to those credit bureaus. So now what's on one credit bureau may not be on the other 2.
Exactly.
So what happens is that when you go to get a mortgage, they check all 3. They don't take any. They don't take any chances.
No chances when it comes to mortgages. Exactly. They check all 3, and what it is, those companies, what you want to do is you want to get your report from all 3, because there's a high chance there might be errors on your credit report. That happens more often than people think. There may be someone in the United States or someone with the same name as you, and they may have bought and defaulted on a loan, and by mistake the computer put it on your name. So you want to make sure you get all 3 reports and go through them with a fine-tooth comb and make sure that all that debt is your debt.
That's another thing. Always get 3 copies from each individual credit bureau, and check it for the correct name, correct Social Security name. If you're a senior and a junior like we are here, make sure that the son's credit is not put on your credit report and vice versa. Make sure the addresses are the same. The computer sometimes, the computer gets it wrong too. Maybe somebody with the same name as yours and a different address has bad credit, and the computer picks it up and shoots it in through the computer, and it ends up on your credit report. And so now you're being charged for that person's credit, and you don't even know it. How would you ever know it unless you checked and you might have figured, well, my credit score isn't all that great anyway, and maybe you should have a 640 when you're really getting a 540.
Exactly.
And you figure, well, hey, that's just the way it is. And then you find out that it's the wrong Social Security number and the wrong credit. You could end up with an extra 100 points.
That's why it's good to make sure, at least I would say, twice a year, once a year, print your credit report out from all 3. I believe you can get a free report.
Free report once a year.
Once a year, and then go through it and just make sure that everything on there is correct.
And check all of it, check all of the different items on there. Like I said, check your balances too. Suppose the company you were paying, look at all these companies now that are going out of business. Suppose the company went out of business, you paid off the credit. Say it was one of these named companies, and I'm not going to mention any companies out here that have gone out of business in the last 6 months. Now they stopped reporting, but you paid off the bill.
Right.
Well, the credit bureau doesn't know that the bill is paid off because they no longer report to the credit bureau. But you have a receipt, you know that the bill is paid for.
Exactly.
But it's still showing up as debt, and so now that's hurting you. So actually what it all boils down to, credit reporting and checking your credit is work.
It is. That's
but it benefits you.
It's work you can do yourself, but there's a lot of companies out there that also help in apps. But it's better to do it yourself just because you want to make sure that they don't make mistakes on behalf of your part also.
Not only that, would you pay $100 for someone to check on your credit that you could use that $100 to pay off a bill?
Exactly, that's true too.
And they'll gladly do it for $100.
Very true.
I'd rather take the money and just pay off the bill.
Exactly.
So these are some of the things that we're talking to you about today. If you just tuned in, if you just went to that channel, Charles Scott Sr., Charles Scott Jr., and we are brokers with Tri-State Realty. We're in Bridgeport, and we're actually throughout the state, been in business 38 years.
Yes.
But one of the things that we do is a community service. We come on this program once a week, and we give out information as that can help you with your finances, what's happening currently with the current events, what's going on out there in the financial market.
And we break it down and make it simple to understand.
Break it down, put it right out there where you can, understand it. If there's still some information that you want to know, you can give us a call. Our number is right down there. You can give us a call. We can, explain things to you in further detail, or you can check out even some of our past episodes.
Oh, yes, definitely.
You can go to our website. You can look up you can go to YouTube. But, we're mainly a source of information to help you, the public out there, to give you some information so that we can not only help you with your daily life, but maybe friends. Maybe you have someone or someone you know that needs information. Finances actually runs the world.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I would say money runs the world, but understanding it, financial education, some stuff they don't teach in school, can be taught. What do we say? YouTube University. A lot of this stuff, you look on YouTube, how to buy a house. I mean, there's a lot of good information on there that will show you the step-by-step process. And like I said, anything that confuses you, you can give us a call. We can explain that to you.
YouTube University, that's my newfound friend.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Anything, I go home every day and I look and I say, I'll voicemail to YouTube and say, give me what happened today? What's the latest financial information?
Yes.
And I can look at all of the different consultants and all of the different viewpoints of what happened in the market. Did the market go up? The market go down? What's happening with the stocks? Why are people buying? And I constantly drive around and I watch YouTube. I listen to the TV.
Yes.
I've got the XM radio on. I'm listening to the Bloomberg reports. I'm listening to the financial reports, and getting their viewpoint as to and it's amazing. I could all the way into work find out what's going to happen today or what their viewpoint is, and then later on at night find out what really happened.
Exactly, because like you said, with the financial markets, I mean, it influences everything as far as the interest rate. That influences the banks, which influence your mortgages, and which influence what house you can buy.
And also what prices are going to be and what's going to affect your life. So
exactly.
These are some of the things, in other words, we can do so much. We got your finger on the pulse out there. We do all this research. We do all of this homework. But everything is individual. So if you need some advice for something that you're doing or you're planning on doing, give us a call. There's no fees, no cost, and we can help you out with that. Okay?
Exactly. So until next time, please subscribe, and we'll see you next week.
Next week, thank you. God bless.